Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
The Lloydminster Public School Division has many programs available for their students, including an art academy for the creatively inclined. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we see students use recycled items to create their projects.
College Park School is taking art to the next level, creating 3D sculptures by reusing items that would have been thrown out. The students this year are preparing to showcase all of their hard work to the public.
So every year we have a final art show for the students where the public and the school gets to actually tour through our space and see what the students have made. But the very neat part of this year is that we're making it a full environment, but out of recycled materials. So they're taking garbage and they're creating art out of it.
Each student that has participated in the academy has been introduced to new forms of art that they were unaware of going in.
My favorite project so far has been self-portraits, and I really like self-portraits because I felt that it was fun to do and easy to do, and also you just get to do one of yourself, so it was easy.
I really like it because I get to do art with some of my best friends, and I enjoy making like a bunch of different things and being with a real artist.
While being with friends seems to be the favored aspect of the program, for many it's a chance to create art in a safe space.
I enjoy just like doing art, of course, and then I also like doing everything with like friends and people I know. I like doing the 3D animals that we're doing right now. I'm making a jellyfish.
For the staff at the school, they've noticed just how impactful the Art Academy has been for the students.
To give them the opportunity to totally be themselves and express themselves with the freedom of their ideas are important and they matter, and their creativity matters and their uniqueness matters.
And that's all for this week's edition of Beyond the Classroom.
This is your classroom. Hands-on learning like you've never seen.
Get ready to paint the town red as the first annual Mural Fest will kick off this summer. Local artists will have the opportunity to showcase their talents at the first annual Mural Fest, where they can transform ordinary spaces into extraordinary masterpieces.
We are taking Jersey barriers, they're called, and we're actually bringing them all on site during the fair. We're painting them. So what if annually, every year, we take these, repurpose them as art, and place them around the city?
Hoffer says the murals will be a great way to make the city welcoming and vibrant for tourists, while also being a fun way for the community to get involved.
How do we want people to come here, but not only that, be happy while they live here? And how much do we utilize that space in our community? So all of those are things we kept in mind when thinking of Mural Fest. And they launched a Mural Fest in Calgary over a decade ago, and within the first 5 years of their festival, they increased foot traffic by 30% and local business.
Hoffer and her team hopes for this event to be the first of many to continue to spread art across the streets of Lloydminster.
We really want to transform the Lloydex Fair into the community fair. This is about celebrating Lloydminster. It's not about Lloydex, it's not about the fair in general, it's about celebrating community and community initiatives. And when Brandy came to us, it was a complete perfect fit. I think I said yes to her within 30 seconds. I was so excited, and our team is thrilled to have them on site, and we can't wait to see what talented artists come to Lloydminster to showcase their art.
For volunteers and artists who want to bring this vision to life, visit lloydmuralfest.ca. Spring temperatures have been hitting the Lloydminster area the last couple of weeks, but snowfall could be on the horizon. Our Jackson Fontaine talked to global meteorologist Peter Quinlan to learn more.
I'm joined here today with global meteorologist Peter Quinlan. And Peter, we've had a few different changes in the weather the last couple weeks, but I'm going to start you off with a different question. How far in advance can you accurately tell me how the weather's going to look like?
I would say about 7 days. Once you get beyond 7 days, we tend to lose accuracy at a pretty drastic rate. Even the last 2 or 3 days of the 7-day forecast can be a little bit of a toss-up. It also depends on what's going on in the weather. So if we have a big ridge of high pressure just bringing in a ton of sun, that's a little bit more easy to predict. Whereas if we have a low pressure system with a narrow band of moisture, that can be a little trickier to predict well in advance, because a little bit of a wiggle or change in the track of that system can really affect where it ends up.
And there's probably quite the process to predict this weather, but could you give me a shorter version of how you guys predict the weather?
So we look at various computer models that are produced from different countries. Some of them are better at forecasting rain, snow, temperature, wind, cloud cover, and in different weather scenarios. So we look at all of these different computer weather models that project into the future, and we kind of will pick and choose based on which one's more accurate to create a overall more accurate forecast than what you might see on your weather apps or you might find on a computer website at home.
Do you guys also use the Farmer's Almanac to help predict the weather?
Farmer's Almanac is pretty inaccurate. It has kind of an accuracy of less than 30%, statistically speaking. So it's more based off of pseudosciences and things that are like what the ants are doing and different animals in the ground and various kind of less scientifically based theories. So we don't really look at the Farmer's Almanac. We'll look at larger climate patterns like the ocean temperatures and our larger long-term climate models.
You were just kind of mentioning there, you can only really predict the weather for the next 7 days, but it's been pretty nice here, that's for sure. Is there any chance we're going to be sticking with this weather?
We are going to see these mild conditions stick around the Lloydminster area, but it's as we get toward the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, that we're talking about below freezing temperatures returning and the possibility of even some heavy snow that could hit the Lloydminster area. The days we're particularly watching for that is Thursday, where we could see this area of low pressure pass through that could bring in anywhere between 5 to 20 centimeters. We're still pinpointing exact amounts. That'll cause cooler conditions to linger into the end of the week and into the weekend, but then it looks like next week, as we look ahead into the beginning of April, we'll see another warm-up.
And I know, of course, I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but Peter, what are your predictions for the summer?
So there is long-term seasonal forecasts. You have to take them with a grain of salt. They are an overall trend that we could see through a 3-month period. So at this point, our long-range seasonal forecast models for the summer months, so June, July, and August is meteorological summer, are indicating we might see warmer than normal conditions. And there is also the possibility that we could see some drier than normal conditions in the spring in particular, and even into summer. So we'll be watching for those. And at this point, that's what it's looking like could be the overall scenario that we could be facing. We really need to get all the moisture we can get this spring and in the next few weeks even. So maybe that'll make people complain a little bit less about these snowstorms that we get in March and April. But we do need that moisture. And that said, precipitation seasonal long-range forecasting is a little less accurate than temperature forecasting. So there could be a thunderstorm that sits over the area, Lloydminster, for example, and it could dump a month or two's worth of rain in a few hours. So it's really tricky to pinpoint exactly how much precipitation we'll see in a summer.
And finally, is there anything else you'd like to add that people should know about the weather?
I just say your most accurate forecast is the next few days, up to 5 days. Then we start to lose a lot of accuracy in terms of the long-range seasonal forecast. So really just take those with a grain of salt.
Awesome. Well, Peter, once again, thank you for doing this today. You always take time out of your day to help us out with interviews, and we greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jackson. Appreciate it.
We'll have more primetime local news after the break. The Gym 110 is excited for their early years programs coming this spring, where kids will get the chance to move around and build confidence. Our Randy Cormish got the chance to speak with one of the owners to learn more about the programs.
Today, I'm joined by Allison Mavridis, who is a co-owner and youth coach at the Gym 110 here in Lloydminster. And today, we're just going to be talking about the early year programs that are coming this spring. So thank you so much for joining me today, Allison. Could you start off by telling me a bit about the early year programs and what they're all about?
Yeah, so we have 3 different early years programs. So our biggest one is usually the Kinderboxing program. And so that is for 3 to 5-year-olds. It's a drop-off program, so we really encourage that independence. And then we work on lots of gross motor skills, balance, coordination, and listening, which is so important at those ages. And then we do incorporate boxing. So they learn all the basic strikes and they work on some of the kicks for kickboxing as well. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And what
Oh,
makes
and then
these
sorry, the other
No,
ones
no,
are,
go ahead, go
um,
ahead.
yeah. So on Fridays, we also started doing little grapplers. So we have a program that starts at age 4 and goes up to age 7, and it's a lead up for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So we work on wrestling and ground control, and again, working on that self control and movement. And then we do also have a parent and top program that's shifting to Sundays. And that one is from walking right up to 3 years old, and we use music and movement, and we do put our gloves on and kind of bop some things together, but it's mostly just a gross motor skill and social skills time.
Hey, perfect. And then, yeah, what makes these programs unique or different compared to other programs out there?
So one of the things that we're really proud of is I have an education background, and so we are mixing what our expertise in martial arts with what I know about early years development and what they need going into kindergarten. And so we can really work on kind of targeting those skills and those abilities while we're having a lot of fun, and then also getting into that world of martial arts with like super low intensity and just that lighter side for those little guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, what do you hope the kids that come and attend the program take away from it?
So we always, of course, want them to have fun. And then secondly, we want them to know how strong they are, and we want them to know that they can keep themselves in control and they can focus and that they can be awesome little humans on the mats and off of the mats.
Yeah, and why do you think martial arts is such a great activity for children?
So martial arts is one of I don't know, there's so many different kinds. In Lloydminster, we have a ton of different martial arts options. And for any kid at any age, it really comes with that aspect of discipline and self control and hard work. And it gives them an outlet also. So if we have our kids that are a little more boisterous, it gives them a place to get all that energy out where those movements and those behaviors are okay and encouraged. And then on the other side, we get students who are very shy and very withdrawn, and it's a place where all different kind of kids come together, and we see those kids gain confidence and start to kind of come out of their shells and blossom.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, where are parents able to sign their kids up for these programs?
So we are all online. We have social media on Instagram and Facebook, but our sign up is through our website, which is www.thegym110.com. And there's sign up links right there. We do limit our class sizes because we really want to make sure that the kids have a good experience and everybody's getting the attention they need. So it is important that they sign up and grab that spot on the mats if it's something they're interested in.
And then, yeah, is there just anything else you wanted to add for anyone that might be interested in signing their kids up for this?
Yeah, so on top of our early years programs, of course, we also go right up to teen programs, and we have adult programs too. So for our mamas out there, if they're looking for something to do, we do have some women's only classes, and our co-ed classes are very, very non-threatening, and definitely we've got lots of ladies who attend those. And then for the dads and the guys looking for something, there's a little bit of something for everybody. And so we are always like martial arts for everyone. So right from when they start walking to once you're retired, come and try it out. And first class is always free.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, that was all the questions I had for you today, Allison. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this. And I appreciate you telling me more about the early year programs.
Okay, thanks. Have a great day.
That's all for news. Sports is next, but first, here's a look at your closing market.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
The Lakeland Rustlers women's hockey team secured the team's first ever ACAC gold medal earlier this month, and the players are still excited over the win.
It was awesome. I mean, words can't explain it. The girls were excited, crowd was excited, parents were excited. There was a lot of emotions, but it was really surreal to be a part of.
Some of the players will be graduating from the team, but a strong core is sticking around and are already looking forward to the next season.
Morgan does a great job recruiting new girls just that fit in, so I think our atmosphere is going to be just much the same as it was this year, and I think we'll just keep going where we left off.
It can be a difficult thing to talk to your kids when couples are going through separation and divorce. Stacey Comer has some tips on how to make that conversation a bit easier.
It's the time of the week when we are joined by Stephanie Dobson. Stephanie is a lawyer, mediator, and online educator with Hanka Divorce Law and Mediation offices in Edmonton and Lloydminster. Stephanie, thanks for joining me today.
Nice to see you as always, Stacey.
Well, this is a bit of a tough topic we're going to tackle today, Stephanie, and it's about speaking to the kids about divorce.
Yes. You know, it's a very sensitive topic that can be really challenging to discuss with children. And it's really important that parents address this subject in a thoughtful and honest manner to help kids navigate their emotions during this really challenging time for their family.
And once again, we've got a bit of a list where we're going to go through some tips to have that hard conversation. So
the top 10.
Yes, absolutely. So the first tip today, Stephanie, is timing is key.
Yeah, it's really important that you pick a time when you and your children can have a calm and uninterrupted conversation, sometime when there's no distractions so that everyone can focus on the discussion. You might want to choose a time of the day. You might want to choose a time when, for example, there's not an exam, they're not in exam weeks, or there's a competition coming up or something like that where that can really be hard for their mental game. So timing is really key.
All right. And the next one is to be honest. Make sure that everything you say is absolutely accurate, basically.
Yes. So while it's important to be truthful with your children, remember that sharing what information you share needs to be age appropriate. So it's important to use language that they can understand and avoid sharing unnecessary details that may cause confusion or even distress in them.
And tip number 3, Stephanie, is to reassure them.
Yes, let your children know, of course, that they are not to blame for the divorce. It's amazing, but kids blame themselves all the time. And make sure that they know that both parents still love them unconditionally. Reassure them that they'll be supported and cared for, of course, throughout the whole process.
And the next tip is to listen to their feelings, which is obviously very, very important.
Yes, exactly. Encouraging your children to express their emotions and having the parents validate their feelings is really important. So letting them know that it's okay to be sad or mad or confused or any of the other emotions that come along with it, and really providing a safe space for them to share their thoughts with you.
Okay, and the next one is to maintain routine. So we talked about that a lot, Stephanie. Actually.
Yeah, we do. And we talked about it last week a little bit, as well as routine and some consistency. So during this period of transition, trying to maintain a sense of stability for the kids by sticking to some regular routines and schedules. You know, if they have extracurricular activities, make sure they still go to them. If whatever their school schedule is, or anything that we can keep to their regular routines, even their day-to-day routines, can really provide a sense of security for the kids amongst this big change that's happening for them.
Okay, and the next tip is to avoid conflict. Why is that important, Stephanie?
Yeah, we're seeing some similar themes, of course, week by week, but these are really important themes, and avoiding conflict is important because it's really harsh for the kids' brain development to have them be surrounded by a high conflict household. So we want to try to keep the conflict away. So if you need to talk about parent-related stuff, make sure that you're in a room, or even go out into the car, into the garage, so that you're completely away from the kids' earshot.
Okay, and the next one is to seek support.
Yes, so sometimes professional support can be important. So there's the school counselor options, there's private counselor options, there might be options through your parents' workplace that will help you to get a professional involved.
And tip number 8 is to encourage open communication. And why is that something that people need to focus on in this scenario?
Yeah, so similar to some of the other tips that we just went through, by fostering an ability for the kids to express their feelings. It's also important to make sure that you foster an environment where the children feel comfortable talking to you about their concerns and asking questions about the divorce. Now, it may be that they have questions right away. It may be that they have questions in the coming days or in the coming weeks, but it's really important to always be mindful of when your kids want to talk, be available for them.
Okay, and the next one is co-parenting. And again, something we've talked about, but very important.
Yes, so working together with your former spouse and co-parent effectively is really important. Trying to collaborate on items that are in your children's best interest, and really trying to provide some stability, consistency, and routine for the kids across households to minimize that confusion for them.
And the last tip that we have today, it might be one of the most important, but it's take care of yourself.
Yes, and sometimes that's hard because you're trying to take care of everyone else, and especially take care of your kids during this very challenging time. But it is really important. You got to, in the airplane, you got to put on your mask first before putting on your kid's mask. And it's really important to prioritize your own self-care during this challenging time.
All right, Stephanie. Well, thank you once again for joining me. I appreciate it, and we'll be back to chat more next week.
Thanks. Nice to see you, Stacey.
And now let's take a look at your pets of the day.
Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
Thank you for watching Primetime Local News. I'm Mastarta Lazo, and have a great rest of your day.
And with that springtime weather here, those potholes are a lot easier to see on the road.
Yes, definitely. You got to avoid them. They seem to get bigger and bigger every year as well, and more of them pop up. But that's the case as the weather gets nicer. The roads kind of fall into that damaged period before the construction season starts again. But currently,
winter and construction are the two seasons.
Yes, but over the next couple days, starting Wednesday night, we will be experiencing quite a bit of snow between Wednesday to Friday. So we'll get a little bit of snow coverage over those potholes. But for right now, no snow, 8 degrees, feels closer to +4 with the wind chill. Winds at about 22 kilometers per hour, so it's a little bit breezy, mix of sun and cloud. So it's a nice break before we get into the snowy weather that will start on around Wednesday evening is predicted to start. 8 degrees in Marwayne and Provost, 9 in Wainwright, Vermilion, St. Paul, 10 in Vegreville, Bonnyville, Cold Lake and Lac La Biche, and 11 out in Edmonton. So nice conditions in Alberta. In Saskatchewan, similar conditions as well. 10 degrees in Pierceland, Green Lake, and in Meadow Lake, and 8 degrees in Isle Cross, St. Walburg, Maidstone, Mackland, and out in North Battleford. Overnight tonight in North Battleford, temperatures will drop down to just -4, not too bad, partially cloudy skies, and that wind isn't a factor either, only 9 kilometers per hour, so it is going to be a nice evening out, not really any chance of precipitation. Into tomorrow, it will have a thick cloud cover. 6 degrees will be the daytime high, 11 kilometer per hour wind, so it may feel a little bit chilly, but not too bad. In Cold Lake overnight tonight, -5 will be the low, partially cloudy skies, 11 kilometer per hour wind, so it may be a little bit breezy, but otherwise a nice evening. Into tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud. Those clouds will probably start to increase as the day goes on. A daytime high of 5 degrees, 13 kilometer per hour winds. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster, we'll have overcast skies. -1 will be our low, 11 kilometer per hour wind, so that wind will die down by the evening. Tomorrow, daytime, 6 a.m., 0 degrees, 11 kilometer per hour winds, cloudy conditions throughout the entire day. Noontime, it will be +3, 15 kilometer per hour winds, and that will remain 3 degrees by 6 p.m. Winds not too bad. That will pick up to about 19 kilometers per hour, -1 around midnight. Over the next 3 days, we'll get up to a high of +5 tomorrow with a low of -4. And then on Thursday, Wednesday night is when it is predicted to start snowing. However, it will start about a 55% chance on Thursday morning of some snow with a high of -2, low of -7. On Friday, we're predicted to get about 6 to 12 centimeters of snow throughout the day. It will be cloudy and a little bit on the chillier side, high of -4, low of -11. So we are going to be experiencing some snowfall, unfortunately, heading into the weekend, starting Wednesday night, Thursday morning. That is definitely something to be cautious about when you are planning on traveling, especially on the highways. That's the first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.